Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I welcome you all on behalf of NETAP to the webinar series, Apprenticeship Dialogue, which is a knowledge sharing series to understand the recent trends, developments, and the best practices in the area of apprenticeship, which kind of inspires and motivates organizations like yours to come forward and engage in apprenticeship. The theme that we've tried to keep, that we've kept today is the role that apprenticeship could play in future-proofing the business continuity. The reason why we took this particular theme was that we've seen a lot of uncertainties which have come into place because of COVID-19. We've seen many lockdowns now. I think we've just seen the second wave created much more havoc than the first one. But as these uncertainties are, we've also seen that how human capital plays a vital role in coming out of the situation. When we talk about the revival, it's the human beings or the human resources which plays the huge role. How apprenticeship could play a pivotal role in creating that human capital. So today, I think we'll spend some time in understanding how some of the industry experts, have adopted apprenticeship. How have they utilized apprenticeship in overcoming such challenges? How do they create challenges? How do they create the manpower to overcome the talent shortage, which is very essential for the smooth, effective functioning of the businesses. Today, we have with us a diverse panelist, representing different industries. With us, we have Mr. Ajit, who's the head of human resources of Ginger Hotel. We've got Mr. Niraj Shukla, who's the head of human resources, Rebel Foods. And we've got Mr. Sriram V, who's a CHRO for bankbazaar.com. Welcome all of you to this webinar. You all represents the industry, which are, especially Niraj and Mr. Sriram. I think the industry which is, now coming forward and doing apprenticeship. And we would love to hear your views, Ajit, the industry which has made use of apprenticeship, ever since. So welcome all of you once again.
Thank you.
Great. Great. So my very first question to all of you is that, how has COVID impacted your businesses or your industry? If you could just throw light, what are the certain challenges, that has, which your industry is facing because of the in the current situation? So anybody, Ajit, maybe you want to take it up first?
Oh, thank you, Sumit. Thanks for inviting us to the session and webinar. So yes, we've had a very huge impact, the hospitality business per se, and for us at hotels also, there's been a huge amount of impact. And just to give you a sense, when I compare business for vis-a-vis 2019, how the business was, we were last year 65% of what we were in 2019. This year, though, the impact has been very devastating, but business inflows, we've learned from the previous years, and we've looked at alternate business sourcing, and we hope to perhaps close by 80% of the previous year, but still it's going back a couple of years, and it has of course impacted our manning levels, our staffing levels. We've had to relook at our structuring. We've had to rationalize in certain functions and areas, and also we've had to mobilize to people across our chain of hotels, and into, depending on what the restriction levels were, and where the hotels were operating with a larger business volume, we had to rationalize and mobilize our manpower. So yes, as such, a huge change in business formats also. We, traditionally we would have B2B or corporates, and then we would have retail business. But most of our hotels, we've about 40% of our inventory. This year we are operating as COVID care centers, which primarily caters to that market of isolation and quarantine. When I look at this year, and this year since April onwards, it's been a total reverse and shift in business levels. About 70% of the business is coming from the quarantine care facilities. The corporate is down to 19%. In fact, retail is higher at 20%, and that retail business is coming from the people who are traveling for staycations, or they're traveling because they have family needs or any other personal needs. So complete shift in the market segmentation also that we've seen over the.
Sure. So that's kind of remodeling your entire business.
Yes, correct. Yes.
Mr. Sriram, you represent a fintech organization, which is something which recently we've seen, your segment coming forward and engaging with apprenticeship. Also, we would like to know that what is the impact that COVID has had on your industry, and if there are any challenges that your organization is facing amidst this current situation.
Thank you, Sumit, for having us on the call. The story of most of the fintech firms, I would say probably all the fintech firms, is slightly different from what the hotel industry or the hospital industry is talking about. So surely because that the segment is that what has globally and in particular India, it has accelerated digital adoption very aggressively. So institutions like Bank Bazaar is purely digital are able to accelerate various business plans. Well, the plans which we had probably for the next quarter and the subsequent quarter got accelerated because there was a compulsion to adopt digital very aggressively. So what the mission of Bank Bazaar itself is to give the customers paperless products that you can take any product globally, without visiting a bank and without using a paper. So this digital adoption was aggressive, I would say. Yet for the month of March and April of 2020, we were a little clueless because now the pandemic was large, but we adopted very quickly.
Okay.
Kudos to the workforce. So we
Great.
came back to about significantly last year. Wave two again caught us with surprise, but this time we were much prepared. The systems and processes are very well there. From HR front, I think there is significant adoption to digital usage for right from onboarding to retiring. Everything is now significantly digital, or only digital, I would say. And it also has reworked our manpower plans from a location perspective, skill perspective, flexibility perspective, and that is where apprentice model really works for us. So I
Great.
think
So, Mr. Sriram,
yes.
sorry to stop you here, but I think my next question is going to be on that, how your organization is coping up with the challenges and how apprenticeship helding. But I think the idea was that how do we understand the kind of current challenges which the COVID poses for the industry? Thank you so much for sharing it. Let's go to Niraj. Niraj, how about you're part of the food retail, something where the continuity was maintained because of the deliveries were happening here. But what kind of a challenges that the COVID has put across for your company as well as for the industry?
Yeah, so if you talk about, first of all, would like to thanks everyone and would like to thanks Team Leads and special thanks to Sumit.
Pleasure is all ours. Thank you.
For giving such a great opportunity to speak about, apprenticeship program, how this is going to help for a business, for a country that we could discuss. First of all, I would like to mention here that pre-COVID, the situations were normal, people were available, workforce was available at the ground. But since the pandemic has started, the mobilization, or we have seen the people started migrating to their hometown. So since the pandemic has started, it was very difficult for our industry to get the manpower on board. So again, attrition and getting people on board, because running an industry like where, because we are industry where we are working, we are into hospitality industry where we are serving food to the people, and our business is completely depend on the people who are working in the kitchens, like the kitchen staffs who make the foods, or the delivery riders who actually deliver the food. So since the pandemic started, people started moving, and we have seen major challenges in terms of manpower. So that was the concerns what we have faced during this pandemic, and currently we could see that we are achieving our pre-COVID numbers, but again we could see still because if you want to cover the entire India for a business, we still see there is a lot of opportunities for taking people on board, hiring them or growing them or developing with them. So this is how COVID has impacted our business.
Sure. So last year we saw that again, everybody witnessed the whole phenomena of reverse migration, where and when the organizations, when the unlocking happened and the organizations were coming back into business, they realized that finding talent was a major, issue for them. But what we realized that during the pandemic, many of the organizations were able to retain and engage with their apprentices or with the talent through the learning modules and how they were adding value. It was also a good way to remain connected with them, also adding values with their workforce, including the apprentices. We also saw a lot of localization. The focus towards localization, hiring in the localization. We saw that how people locally, irrespective of their education background, they were kind of taken into apprenticeship to give them the basic training, get them to a level where they become slightly productive, and then create that workforce for themselves. How do you think that apprenticeship could possibly help the organization to create talent, which is essential for the future, or for the running, for the business in the current scenario and for the future as well? So, first of all, do you think that apprenticeship plays a pivotal role in future-proofing the businesses? And if yes, then how? Maybe you could share some of your practices that your organization, adopted. And Mr. Sriram, I think you were saying something about it, that how your organizations got into digitization stuff. And maybe if you could throw light on the apprenticeship, how you could maintain the continuity, for the business through the apprenticeship. Sir, you are on mute.
Sorry. So essentially, right, I'm a great believer and also a beneficiary of the apprentice program. I think especially during the pandemic time, I realized this is the real support. So what it helps is, it gives you enormous flexibility. It makes takes the load out of the recruitment team. It also creates a need. If I have to give a comparison, right? In the cricket world, you have a league of matches, in second division, third division. Always there's a league of players whom you can watch and then pick from there. Likewise, here in the industry, as you train people, as you give them opportunities to play, when I say play, I'm saying when you do work and learn, it gives you a huge, availability of manpower, which can help you in a continuity. Right? If I have to suddenly, onboard 100 people, I know which are my top 10, 100 apprentices. Right? If I know I'm going to onboard after 2 months, I can tell them, hey, look, on 2 months from now, we are going to take you. Right? Accordingly, you need to get trained on ABC. So, plus the help of, we are able to train people digitally. They can get trained sitting at their home, is an enormous advantage. I think it's a real blessing that we are able to pursue this and continue to benefit out of this apprentice program. And it helps us to give flexibility and also identify talent, group talent, and also give us plan ahead that after 3 months I will get people, so many people which I can plan right now. I think that's my single largest benefit, I would say.
Great. So I think the kind of knowledge, the industry also that you represent, which is more knowledge-based work, which happens. I think when you were talking earlier, you said it's a combination of both knowledge and skill. And since now, that kind of a work could be done remotely as well, sitting at home. I think the apprenticeship makes easier because it's not location agnostic, that somebody has to come to the office and then do the training. So I assume that that's the way you were able to continue your apprenticeship training. And I think very beautifully you've summarized that how it has helped you to create a pipeline for your future workforce. Yes. Where you do your manpower planning accordingly. You take the apprentices, train them, groom them to a level where they become your future employees.
Yes.
I think that's a fantastic way to engage with apprenticeship. Yeah. Ajit, unlike, like what's in the fintech industry, what Mr. Sriram was saying, there's a possibility of continuity. Your job roles are largely skill-based. Correct me if I'm wrong there,
That's
and
right.
Obviously they need to be at the location. So how has apprenticeship been able to help you maintain the continuity in the lockdown situation or in a situation, what we are going through or we've just gone through.
Sure. So, actually, yes, we never realized that, the kind of shifts that we will have or the kind of flexibility levels that we would require in creating the right size of manning in each of our hotels. So one thing which we were doing was we were investing in the apprentice program, and we were encouraging hotels to have apprentices in place. And what we also realized is that when there was a sudden need in certain location for people, the apprentice actually, they proved to be a boon for us, because we were able to quickly get them on board, because they had gone through certain levels of training. They were accustomed to the function, the processes. So that was a great advantage that we saw. Also, I think from a future proofing or a future perspective, what's going to happen, and as I foresee that as business picks up, as things come back to normal, a lot of assets are going to be under tremendous stress, and we need to be innovative in how we scale up, and how there will always be this pressure, at least for us in HR, to say that we need to keep costs contained, and we need to be able to control the manning levels while not letting the cost spiral up. So I think there's a huge opportunity where there's and that flexibility can definitely come via apprentice. And I think it will be a win-win, because one is that if we sort of look at various ways of engaging and continuing with apprentice, it will help the organization from a cost perspective, and it will also be beneficial for the for the apprentice from a long-term perspective. So I think that's where there are advantages that I think we're going to see.
Great. Fantastic. Thank you for sharing your thoughts on that. Niraj, let's talk about your organization, or let's talk about the industry. While I know that you are yet to get started, but there's always been an intention to do apprenticeships, right? How do you think apprenticeship could prepare your organization for a situation like this in future? First of all, do you think that apprenticeship can help in future proofing the businesses? And also, if yes, as I said, that how do you think that your organization could prepare yourself for bracing the situation for the future?
I think it plays very important role if I talk about apprenticeship. So if we think about year back when the pandemic has started, there was major impact on availability of workers. We have seen, like, industries have experienced those things. So here, not only hiring a talent with the help of apprenticeship, I could say for employer and for employee both, I would suggest here people who are going to join and the employer, this is going to actually create a good talent pool for an employer, very hassle-free process, cost-effective process, not much, statutory compliance that we have to follow for a people. We have to just hire, we have to just give opportunity for a people here. They could onboard with us. They could, the company, on the basis of the projects or on the basis of the product, we could train them. And on the basis of their skills and knowledge and the training, we could define their future. We could, onboard those people on the company payroll. So somewhere, I think that this is going to play a very important role, because in near future we could see, if this kind of situations would be there or it would remain same. So I could see the apprenticeship is going to play a very important role in terms of, it's a very hassle-free. First of all, it's a very hassle-free process. No need to, follow any manual process. A lot of manual process interventions are not there. First of all, it's a very automated process. Second, it's very cost-effective. If you're going to hire anyone in the market, as compared to apprenticeship program, you are paying higher cost. And if you're going to hire any freshers. Somewhere.
So Niraj, sorry, here a clarification here. You're speaking about the cost effectiveness. Is it that you're trying to say that creating talent is more cost effective as compared to talent acquisition? Because future, usually we've seen that apprenticeship are taken as a substitute to cheap labor. So I just want to make that clarification here, that is it here you're talking about the talent creation, which tends to be a more, cost effective way, or rather, and also has a lot of long term returns coming in because of, the whole process of talent creation versus talent acquisition. So could you please clarify this particular part of yours, maybe?
Sure, definitely. So, if I talk about industry like us, the major concern we face like attrition. So, in early days, we see a lot of attrition, people join and people leave us, right? The attrition industry like us. So, if I talk about the talent pool creation, so at then what we are companies are going to do with the help of apprenticeship program. So, identify our manpower requirement at the initial of the quarter or initial of the year, identify those needs, identify, on the basis of that, we could, approach these people who are actually looking for a job, or either they are graduate, undergraduate, who are actually want to learn and make their career. So there I see that, if people are getting opportunity to work with us and companies creating this kind of great platform, here the company can hire people actually as per the business requirement, the skill set or the knowledge what we require, and matching to those requirements, the basic requirement. If we are hiring those people, we can keep them in a pool, right?
Yeah.
If we keep them in a pool whenever we require, for example, if I'm working for a particular field or particular department, and suddenly we get a requirement that we need 10 people, who are very well trained or they have a good knowledge, good experience. And if we have an apprenticeship in place, so whenever there is an urgent requirement or whenever there is a manpower shortage, which we face, due to any kind of urgent requirement hiring,
Yeah.
or if there are any attritions or any issues that we are facing. So to provide the immediate solutions, we could see here the application is going to play a very important role. First thing. Second thing, I would not say in terms of, I'm not saying it's a very cost effective. That means, it is going to save a lot of energy, time, investing in other statutory part and other things, where, sometimes employer feel that it's a additional task that they have to deliver. So all these things, the company, the employer is going to save. Employer are going to save their time. They are going to save their energy, and they are going to save their some cost also, because if you are going to
Sure.
hire, any people from market, and if you compare through apprenticeship program, I would say the hiring people through apprenticeship would be a very cost effective rather than hiring through a regular practice.
Sure, sure. So yes, it is, apprenticeship always has a long-term returns coming in from them. I think one thing which is coming in very clearly from all of you is that how it helps you build a pipeline for your future of prospective employees, and also about the real-time availability of the talent. And I think that is where, when you see that when the talent is available, how the productivity of the people or the business improves. When you see people going through the very structured way of, training, how they become more productive as an individual, as it shows in the performance as well. And definitely, apprenticeship also has an impact of more stickiness, because you're giving an opportunity to a person to groom and upskill to become employable. So I think those are some of the very pertinent factors which makes a case for apprenticeship. And when we talk about the economy currently, which is under the slowdown, but whenever the revival happens, or as a revival happens, it has to be more skill based, which means that the people would play an essential part in reviving of the economy. And the organization which has the human capital, which are the capabilities, is what they would be able to kind of come out of this recession faster. And also because of the competitiveness, which is part of our business every day, it's the people that play a vital role there. Thank you so much for your inputs there. It's been a long time we've been talking about digitization or the adoption of technology. Whether we speak about the industry 4.0, we're talking about how the automation is going to transform. While we see a lot of transformation or the adoption of technology overseas, India was still kind of preparing. I think we saw a lot of stuff happening in the fintech sector, in the e-commerce sector, but the COVID has kind of accelerated the adoption of digitization and technology. Whether it is your e-commerce, which has again flourished and grown, whether it is your ed tech, which has come up as another sector, whether it's talk about your financial transactions and all. to the extent that even today medical consultancy is also possible, through the through your virtual platforms. So we feel that even digitization in implementation could kind of scale up apprenticeships. How the virtual learning or the whole aspect of adoption of technology in execution could help in facilitating the scaling of apprenticeship, which is much essential right now. Be it whether it is at a hiring side, whether it's a training side, whether it's the assessment or the administration of the apprentices, it could really make it more effective. To the extent we've also seen that when the government launched the apprenticeship portal, how the registration has become more, I would say, easy for the employees to go and register themselves and get started on it. So would like to understand your take on the impact that digitization or adoption of technology could have on apprenticeship, and what are the avenues do you think that it could really be effective? So Ajit, would you want to take it up this first?
Oh, thank you. Thanks, Sumit. Very interesting question. I think very relevant to what we are seeing. And in fact, in our last just a review meeting, just a week back, most of our managers came about and said that, we never really thought that, so much of training would have happened during this last year and a half, and all of it was online. So yes, I think there has been a paradigm shift in terms of how we are training, and just like you said that whether it was ordering of food or consulting a doctor, and of course edtech, seeing a lot of this upswing. I think there's huge amount of potential for us to relook at how the programs are being running, and I know even organizations like Team Lease has done some really pioneering efforts in onboarding and managing requirements and compliance. I think which is what even Niraj was saying, that it's become more hassle free. But yes, there is still, I guess, a lot of opportunity for us as industry also to sort of manage the system more seamlessly, and I think doing so we would it would really help foster that requirement of freeing up the bandwidth of managers, or supervision on the flow, so to speak. And I think with that, we could the big huge advantage is when Sumit, I think you rightly said that there will be a requirement of sudden scale up. So that scaling up is definitely going to be a huge advantage if we use technology. And of course, that shift from manual to automation will, there are a lot of benefits that we see now, but I think there are lots of tacit benefits also which would accrue to us as we go along.
Okay, sure. Great. Thanks for that, Ajit. Niraj, what are your takes on it, since most of your work happens through the digital platform as well, right? How do you think that apprenticeship could scale up through adoption of technology?
So actually, if you talk about technology, not only in apprenticeship, but I would say technology play a very important role in all the industries to grow up and to scale it up.
Absolutely.
So I think that technology plays a very important role. However, somewhere I feel that along with this scale up this program through scale up this program through technology, I would recommend here that we should more focus on towards creating awareness about this program, or building the awareness about this program with the help of technology more and more. Because I believe if you could talk about the current generation, there are very few people who are aware about this program, this activity, the benefit, the act, and which industry it is applies, which industries it not. And so all of this, if I talk about the technology is only going to give the entire benefit for us initially, creating the awareness about the program, creating the making people aware about the benefits, about its features, how it works. And then yes, in future I see the industries also getting so many benefit from this platform. getting manpower as per the requirement, and taking the people as per as per the skills, whatever the requirement the company has or industry has. We will get the people as per that, and taking people register on one platform, accessible. Various HR fraternity would have access to the data, people data, human data. They could see that for a user would be easy to apply for this job, for this program, and for this activity. So somewhere I feel that technology is going to play a very important role to scale this entire program at a country level or at an India level, and then with the help of technology, I feel that the challenges what we face in case of making the people available or making workforce available as per the requirement. So this platform, it seems like we are going to fulfill the initial needs of our industry with the help of this entire program, with the help of technology.
Sure. Thank you. Mr. Sriram, you are a technology company yourself. How do you think apprenticeship could be, or technology could play a role in executing and scaling the apprenticeship, sir?
So this is a huge topic, Sumit. So I probably refrain myself, with reference to my company. So the last 15 months, entire onboarding, training, assessment, making the employee productive, and daily training and actions are fully digitized, which would have taken a year, but we just did it in 3 months because there was a necessity, right? So that is true for all the, I would say companies, they probably accelerated this process. So having done, now we actually are able to see the benefits of, and we feel we should have, even otherwise, should have accelerated this. We thought, why did we wait for COVID to come, right? So what it means is it gives enormous flexibility to make the apprentice comfortable whoever they are and wherever they are. And we are able to expand our skill net, as I call it as, right? The net gets expanded when we were only looking at one location. Now I can look at larger, I can spread the net broader, right, to different, and also different segments, right? Whether it's to be part-time, full-time, this qualification, rural, second tier, Hindi speaking, whatever segment, right? So the moment I have digitized, so the net becomes, the skill net or the catchment net becomes also digital. It just spreads. So once they come into the system, then it's the same organization, right? Now it has come to that stage. We're very comfortable doing engagement programs, virtually, which was not very happily thought of. Sometime back, we are missing the physical presence and all that, but it's about a year plus. Now people are here and they're comfortable. We do R&R. Every life goes on with a full scale digital adoption. One thing, as the last statement I will say on this is that digital adoption has left the industry with a new puzzle. That when the pandemic settles down, when things become normal, it will be a new normal.
Absolutely.
Right? You can't go back from your digital adoption anymore because it's a comfort, right? So you can't work without the email today. You can't work out. We have all worked at some point of time without email. Maybe this generation may not even understand how to work. But once you get used to it, once you have a digital adoption, you just can't go back, right?
True,
so it's
true.
really going to help the industry to scale further, especially to the apprentice model. It helps me to increase the two things. One is it helps me to increase my catchment net. It also helps me to target what type of apprentice I need. Whether I need a part-time, I need from this location, I need this skill, it helps me. So I think that way digital adoption has accelerated that. Those are
Sure, sir. So I think some of the points which are coming is definitely that, it makes a apprenticeship more accessible, or the candidates more accessible for the apprenticeship. I think likewise, how apprenticeship becomes more accessible for the candidates as well. We're also talking about how can you utilize this technology for spreading awareness, for the training, for your regular administration purpose, for your, I think for everything that you said that, what is required can be digitized. Various the phases of or the steps in the apprenticeship could be, digitized. While we also feel that the apprenticeship could be done virtually, as well, and specifically in the knowledge-based, job roles where remotely they just need a technology or just a computer to, kind of work their work, kind of get trained on the work, which needs more software to work upon. That is where it's still like a doubtful, because the regulations currently are not, talking about the virtual training as such. But yes, the theoretical component, something which is possible to do under the apprenticeship. But can we do the virtual or the online apprenticeship training? That's something which has been recommended to the ministry as well for the coming changes. In fact, that's what my next question is going to be, that what are some of the recommendations that you would like to make if to change the act, to make it more or maybe change in the system, not just the act, to make it more easy for the employers to execute apprenticeships? Whether anything that could be, even the finance minister during the budget speech said that we're going to make the amendments in the Apprentices Act. Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship is working very hard to get the right amendments which are conducive for all the stakeholders in the apprenticeship. While the recommendations have already been tabled, would still like to hear from each one of you representing different industries. What are the changes that you would want in the act or in the system to make it more easy to execute and to scale the adoption of the apprenticeship in your specific sectors? Any recommendations? So Ajit, would you want to go ahead with that first?
Sure. Thank you, Sumit. So yes, very interesting question again. And I think this is something that we all have been dwelling on for some time. So one aspect is definitely, I think, the ease of, though it's become easier. I mean, it's been on apprentices, at least in the hotel industry, has been on the last 40 years. And, we've seen some great products, great leaders who have come out of that program as well. They are great examples of how, you can start your career as an apprentice and, become actually the general manager of the hotel. So it's been there, but over time, earlier, I think that was one of the prime routes to get into the industry. But over time, it's sort of lost luster because it was primarily industrially driven. And then as the sources of employment change, I think that perspective changed. But there's an opportunity, definitely so, by making it easier, perhaps bringing a little bit of SOPs for the industry, which could also, and of course, apprentice is a earn as you learn kind of a program. So that could also go back to those students, if industry gets certain benefits, further benefits. I would also say that, like if you look at countries like Switzerland, Germany, where the apprentice programs are very, very well embedded, and it is a balance between this graduation and developing of skills, and students are more encouraged because I think if we go towards that approach, it's definitely going to help more. The government can definitely do. I mean, definitely there's a lot more which can be done to facilitate that. Also, I feel if we can sort of link it, bring in more options in the regular streams. It shouldn't only be restricted to, let's say, a vocational course. Can it be opened up? Can students get credit and be encouraged for taking on, apprenticeship rather than internship? Because, there's a lot of huge focus on internship. And can we also actually look at certain affiliations for that certification with institutes or other, education bodies, universities, to make it more lucrative to students? And also, I think it's been done by other countries where they make the certification levels, you have level A, level B, level C. So what also happens is, if I do, let's say over 3 to 4 years, I do 3 levels and then I do a bridge course, can that also give me a graduation? So that becomes an alternate, course than rather doing the traditional graduation. I know, even if I'm trying to do hotel management, which in our industry is a lot of experience driven, why do I need to go and spend maximum time in a college? Why can't I, earn while I work? So that would be a few things that I'd like to see.
Great. Just one more thing, Ajit, you mentioned about some of the benefits which could be offered to the employers, some of the SOPs you mentioned. Would you want to kind of just elaborate a little bit on this?
Sure. So, one, of course, a benefit would also be just for, it will help industry if the apprentices or the on-the-job training also get covered under, say, a medical cover by ESIC. It would also, if there is some sort of it exists, but it exists to a smaller proportion. But I would say that if there can be a larger benefit given to the organization to encourage to take on apprentices.
More apprentices.
Yeah. So that is something which I think if it spans out over a certain time or certain numbers, then that benefit can be given back. Let's say a student has, so it's not only the stipend, like basically the stipend, there is an advantage, but there is perhaps a buffer between the stipend and a certain amount which can be given back to the students to say, okay, here is a small little fee that you use to pay back for your, if this is what you're paying for your course, you use this to pay for your course. So
I think recently Goa government has come up with this thing that they would be paying about 1,500 rupees over and above the stipend that would be paid to the apprentice, something like that. But I think some of the very valid points coming from your side is on the credit-based education, which could be given, where the credits are being, the work is getting, the training is getting recognized, and the students are getting credits are being awarded to them for the training part of it. Also affiliation with some Ivy League universities, or maybe affiliation with the higher education. So something which has already been done under the NEP, that's New Education Policy 2020. We're talking about that how the degree apprenticeships could play a pivotal role, making vocational education or the apprenticeship more aspirational, desirable by the youth. But yes, it's now time for the execution of that. I think something coming from you, only validates this whole particular program. Thanks for your inputs, Ajit. Mr. Sriram, what would be your recommendation, considering you are a very new age industry, how we can scale up apprenticeships in the industry? What are the changes and recommendations you would make, to make it more conducive for the employers in the sector?
First, I probably will second all of what Ajit said. I think those are brilliant suggestions. In addition, I would look for a few more things. One, from the government, in addition to the ESI car, if they can give some SOPs to the organization which is, would like to do this more, they can give a tax break, right, to the amount equal to the amount paid as the stipend, right? So that will encourage more and more companies to adopt. Two, I would like the institutions which are using and helping in apprentices to give a certificate, and that certificate should carry a weightage either in the next job or in the higher education, right? So that there is larger commitment, and also there is that when it's like when I certify, and let's say if Ajit hires based on the certification, there is something I'm passing on that he is also receiving. So it becomes a better process over the period of time. Third, all graduates should undergo apprentice in the last semester, because therefore they will know what they are reading in practice. However, that's a huge missing link in the Indian education system. If all the grads, irrespective whether they are vocational or any course, they should go to an industry, be there should be there, and they will understand this. That should carry an academic weightage. Therefore, they take it serious. The industry also is able to see the students in close quarters, and probably it becomes a easier model for apprentice to a campus hiring. So I think that should something the institution, academic, and the government should facilitate. There's a lot to do. I think we should take the first steps first. Yes.
So I think the unanimous points coming from both of you is that, also the common points coming is that it has to be made a part of your education system, to make it more effective, to scale up in the country, make it more, youth coming forward, take up apprenticeship. And of course, you're talking about the tax break as well. Yeah. While there are courses like a BWalk, which has been there, where, it's part of but it's only BVOC which gives you the the apprenticeship kind of component which is part of it. But what you're suggesting that all the courses, irrespective technical or vocational, should carry the apprenticeship component.
Yes.
Great. Niraj, what are your recommendations for this?
Uh, I would recommend here, I agree to Ajit and Sriram that we should focus somewhere. Yeah, again, I have said the same thing that we should more and more focus on the awareness part and where government, the employers, and again, we should take some steps here that at least people, again, we are going to majorly, we could see here, the youth are going to attract with this platform, with this entire program. They are going to get benefit around it. So we should we should create more and more awareness about this program. We should, add in our somewhere in somewhere, in some program in higher studies, or we got about, in a 12th or graduation somewhere, we should add the, some information around this program. And yes, the point Ajit has mentioned that we should come up with some ESIs or medical facilities for these people, which could, give some relaxation to the employer. And these are the things which are going to attract more and more employer to, participate in this activity. Along with that, we should build some more activities or some more program which could benefits to the existing people also. Not like the people who are on payroll. However, some program we should build under apprenticeship, which is going to help our people to increase their knowledge, skills, to grow their career, to build their career. So such kind of programs also we should build in the under this platform, which could also attract more and more employer to enroll with this activity. So this is one suggestion, that majorly focus on awareness. Then we should come up with some benefit where people should know about it, and it should be very transparent to everyone. Then few things for employer, like which are the industries are covered, how they are getting covered, what are the benefits associated with this. And again, we should also create some group of employees where we should start creating some through virtual only. We should start creating some campaign around it with the help of some HR or with the HR fraternity, or with the help of some employees. We should start creating creating some campaign around it, and we should talk more and more. We should talk about it. If we start doing this, I think the communication more and more would be communication around it, more and more awareness around it. I think this is going to give this is going to help entire organization, and especially for a youth who does not have any clarity about their career goal or about their future plan. So this is, I would say, a great platform to go in.
Great. So I think awareness is something which is coming about, which could change the landscape for apprenticeship. How very transparent, very simple way to communicate that what's the merits for apprenticeship for the youth, for the organization. I think one thing I really like about what you said is that let the employers, kind of come up and do this awareness campaigns, rather than, just, always asking government is not doing sufficient work. So I think government has done what they have to do. Well, they're trying to improve it, but we as an employer should definitely come forward, promote apprenticeship. And what better way to promote is than, like walking the talk. So let's, adopt apprenticeship. Let's engage with apprentices to spread the awareness about it. Great. My very last question to all of you is going to be on the gender diversity. Like the reports recently on the apprenticeship outlook, on the hiring outlook for apprenticeship, suggested that over the previous report, which was H2 of 2000 versus H1 of 2001, we're talking about the calendar year, they have been, by 5 points, there was increase in the number of employees saying that, they are willing to take more women apprentices. We have seen that even in manufacturing today, on the some of job roles where these apprenticeships are done, which are historically done by men. Today, the women are being taken as an apprentice there, which is a heartening thing to see. That would like to understand that how is gender or apprenticeship plays can possibly drive your diversity program. Whether it is to do with just the women. In fact, there were about 33% of the employees, they said that they are gender agnostic. So do you think that apprenticeship could play a pivotal role in your diversity programs? and how it could do that? Or are we looking only at gender as a one of the angles or the aspect of diversity? Or are we looking at people with special abilities or differently able people? Or are we talking about from different communities, or from, let's say, different sexualities now, orientation now? So could you just throw light on that? What role could apprenticeship could play in your diversity plans? So, Mr. Sriram, I know this is your favorite topic you were mentioning to me. So, would you want to take it up
Yes,
first?
I think this is very close to my heart. I think to my organization also. I think this is something which we are very very conscious about, and we wanted to really do this in every step of ours. So today we do about somewhere around 57%, in our hiring, and that reflects even in our apprentice. So I think we are very happy about what we are doing, but we don't want to rest. We wanted to move forward. Now, as step two, we are also looking at how to go further. So and look at people who are specially able, and people who can work only part time, and people who have stopped employment because of motherhood, right? And people who lost because of certain other reasons, especially people who are differently able, is something which are very very keen. Pandemic opened that opportunity big time, because then someone who is differently able need not travel, right? They're very comfortable where they are and they can still work.
True.
So apprentice model gives flexibility to us toward our goals, which we are pursuing, and this is now helping us aggressively pursue that. Right now, we don't have a spelled policy yet on what is the policy on various sexual orientations, but we are currently agnostic to it. We will come out with a model. We will be in favor of every possible citizen having all liberty to be accommodated. So that's a model we will go forward. But what really helps is the flexibility of apprentice. I can now go Kanyakumari to Kashmir, hire anyone on a digital mode, on a virtual mode, train them, but still look for the segments of people whom I really wanted to support. Right? And I think that is what is really helping. And I think this pandemic has really helped, because it has killed the distance, as I say. Right? It is immaterial now where you are, right? Then this is going to stay for some time, right? And even if it's normal, it's going to be a new normal. So therefore, let us adopt people who are not having that privileges. Let us adopt all of them now and now. And let us get as many people from there. I think this is a brilliant opportunity given to everyone in the industry, where we were lagging, not for any other reasons, because it was not feasible and other constraints, but the pandemic has opened a new door. And I think we have, at Bank Bazaar, has done very well. But I think we wanted to go further and see how much more we can do on this space.
Great, sir. Very valid and valuable points coming from you. Ajit, what's your take on the diversity aspect on apprenticeships?
So I think what Mr. Sriram has said is absolutely something that I think would lead to a lot of institutionalizing of getting better levels of diversity. For us at the hotel industry, we've struggled. In fact, it is traditionally also more a male dominated industry, and we've also done certain initiatives where we were trying to recruit for the region and from the region, and we realized in certain regions it's a bigger challenge because of the mindset. Hotels don't have a very very encouraging, unlike the, I guess, the advantage that the knowledge sector has. But we've made some baby steps. We've done campus connects, we've done some engagement programs in those areas, and one thing that we found is this on the job training or apprentice also, encouraging to go that route is perhaps cushioning and giving the people exposure. So many times what happens is we've had cases where these students have come and said, we would love to come and work. We've done an engagement program, we've done exposure. They said, no, but our parents are not going to allow us. So so I think we need to take that engagement program now a step further and use it as an influencer. So that's one step where I'm talking from a gender perspective. From what Sriram said about differently abled, that's one place where we've made some good inroads, and of course it's been more piloted, and we've done pilot projects in certain hotels, because what we've realized is you also have to create that environment for the differently abled
Infrastructure
employees,
as well.
infrastructure wise, sensitization, language training. Also functionally, there are certain functions where they do much better. So we've sort of targeted those functions, and we've seen some great benefits. In fact, from an attrition perspective, it's a wonderful segment to have, because you have very low levels of attrition. And yes, of course, I mean, interestingly, this is also the Pride Month, but we've not really done much, from that perspective from various other communities. We're trying to make inroads, but I guess there's a lot of opportunity there. And definitely, I think the apprentice or maybe on-the-job training is definitely area by which we can build them, because the sustainability is only at the bottom of the pipeline. If you get in people and people are trained and they are more encouraged to, again, it's way better than trying to recruit from you create that pipeline rather than just recruit for.
So it's like you just broaden or widen your pool through this
Yes.
particular mechanism. Great. Niraj, final words coming from you.
Yeah, so I would say, like, in current situation, if we say, like, you know, what Sriram has said, that was very right. Where from Kanyakumari to Kashmir, we could connect with the one platform we could have. So nowadays, what employer looking for? Employer is looking for identifying the right talent, bringing them under company, then training them and developing them. And again, we are doing, employers are doing, these activities again to improve the productivity. At the end result is all we talk about. It's improving the productivity, improving the efficiency level. And when the company grows, company think that their people also grow with them. So I think then because the more we grow with the company, the more skill knowledge that we get to know while working from our experiences also. So what I could sense here, that the entire apprenticeship program is going to, first of all, if you talk about India, it has a different languages, different states, different culture. You could observe in state by state. So at a country level, I could see that we are going to see one platform where employer can choose, can identify the need of manpower, and they can get a chance to fulfill those requirements. Again, the same program is going to help them to build their people, to encourage them to increase their knowledge and skills, providing effective training programs to them. And again, along with that, the users, the people would have opportunity to grow with the company. So coming to the point, like in nowadays, I would say that when we know that socially we have to follow a lot of distance in nowadays, but virtually we are connected a lot. So
Yeah.
I could say that the coming generation would be connecting more on virtual, rather less on that, because we know that the pandemic may come anytime and we have to be ready for that. So I could say that in this situation we are getting such a platform where other countries have initiated, they implemented, and now they are getting benefits, a lot of benefit in terms of not only employee, not only employer. I believe everyone is getting benefit out of it, and the results of the analysis, right? So I would recommend here that with the help of technology, identifying the need, creating the best programs, and again working on the same cycle, identifying the need, identifying the growth areas, or identify the challenges, working on the same, and coming up with the best program for the people, for the employer, for the companies. I think this is a super plan, which we could see that this is going to give a good benefit to the company, to the people, and again majorly to our young group.
Sure. Thanks, Niraj, for your inputs. Thank you, all of you, for sharing your thoughts on apprenticeship, how it could future-proof the business, how it creates the talent which is required to future-proof the businesses. Coming to the questions now, we see some questions coming in from the audience. So there's one coming from Niraj. Should the Apprenticeship Act allow reskilling and upskilling, keeping in mind the emerging new roles and traditional job roles is becoming obsolete? So that's a question. So what do you recommend that? Or I think anybody can do that. Niraj, obviously the question is for you, but others can also contribute to it. That should the reskilling and upskilling of the employees, keeping in mind the emerging new job roles as the traditional roles are becoming more obsolete. So please, your views, please. Niraj, it's for you. So maybe you go first and then we take the views from others as well.
I think, and it has a great, potential to do that, which I could sense it. However, it will also, I think it will also take an equal commitment from the employer side also to make efforts, and to identify the need. Basically, we need to identify the need, whether we need to do reskilling or we need to do upskilling or not. So again, yeah, it required efforts from the employers, from the HR fraternity, again, with the help of employers. And yes, we need to identify the need of that. If required, then definitely, yes, we should do it.
Sure. Sriram, any thoughts on that from your side, considering you are a technology-based company, and there are a lot of new kind of job roles which are emerging in your sector. So can upskilling and reskilling be done under the apprenticeships, and how,
I mean, in principle, yes, but I think there'll be a lot of cultural things to break there. So the moment someone is skilled in a particular area, right, they will never like to go through an apprentice route to upskill and reskill. That's the general cultural roadblock we will see. But from an organization, from industry perspective, why not? I mean, if the person is available and there is a skill available, why not be reskill and upskill people? If they have the right attitude and the learning aptitude, why not? But then the challenge will be very different.
Sure. So what you're saying that while you're preparing the workforce, it's possible to do it under the apprenticeship for reskilling and upskilling the people,
Yes.
or preparing them for the new kind of job roles. But you talk about existing employees, it could be challenging because of the mindset, is it?
Yes.
But
Yes.
I think you could still do the reskilling and upskilling for those people while being an employee, so that you have the talent available. And see a lot of companies, specifically the IT companies, who have reskilled their existing employees to make them aware of the new technologies and make them employable with them itself.
Yes, but the only thing is, will they like to be tagged as an apprentice?
As an apprentice, well, yes.
That's the only risk.
Sure.
Otherwise, it's a brilliant idea. Yes.
It's sure, but you said for the preparation at the grassroots level, as the people are entering into the job market, that's where it is very much possible.
Yes. Yes.
Sure. Ajit, your opinion on that?
Yeah. So yes, in fact, I think what Sriram has said totally resonates with us, because we actually run a multi-skilling program, internal program called Tigers, and so I was thinking of can we use the apprentice route? But of course, I mean, for existing employees, it's going to be a little bit of a challenge. But yes, I think the opportunity is to say that can we skill in, let's say, two functions or two areas if it's possible. So if you get somebody in one function, that the person has great potential, is good, you'd like to retain, can you encourage that person to go and pursue their apprenticeship in another area as well? So I think these are just thoughts we need to sort of really give it more initial thoughts. So I think we need to think about it more to see how that should span out.
Great. There's another question that's specifically for you, Ajit, that what is your thought on leveraging degree apprenticeship for creating the future workforce? You've been talking about, linking the apprenticeship with higher education. So what's your thought on leveraging degree apprenticeships for creating the future workforce?
So I think definitely it's something that we should be doing, both from an industry as well as from the government perspective. And I think both Niraj and Sriram also gave some examples. Can we sort of actually make it, even if I'm not saying mandatory, but can we encourage students by giving them real industry exposure, giving them credits for that exposure, timeframes can differ as per the trade. But if we can bring it in, then I think what happens is that huge divide of what the industry requires and what
Sure.
skills of which are required that you see when work for when you actually go into the job market. I think it can help bridge that if we do it. So
Absolutely.
it definitely would.
Absolutely. So definitely, it creates more job-ready people, and at the same time, it kind of reduces the gap which exists between the education and the need of the industry. Another question which comes is this: what is the certificate given to the apprentices on completion of the training? Well, the certificate is given by NSDC, by the Sector Skill Council. So that's the kind of certificate which gives on the level of apprenticeships being done in the job role under which organization. It says, please elaborate the role of team leads in facilitating apprenticeships for smooth functioning. The role that team leads play is like a facilitator, which handholds the organization right from the time of registration to implementation of training. Even before that, designing the curriculum, we manage the training aspect of it, the administration aspect of the apprenticeship, and facilitating everything that's required from even to the extent of submitting the claims under the apprenticeships under the NAPS program. So end-to-end work is kind of supported by team leads in executioning the apprenticeships. What kind of best practices can be implemented to protect the workforce and their family in this pandemic? So anything that you would have done to protect the interest of the apprentices during the pandemic? Any specific thing that you did?
So if I can go over here, one thing that we did is, of course, because there were certain protocols that we brought into place, which protected the employee. I mean, anyone, even the apprentice or any worker. We had the advantage of even keeping them stay. I mean, they don't work. Let's say they go in and out. We created certain bio bubbles to sort of, and then we say, okay, you rotate. You work for about 20 days, and then 21 days and 3 weeks, and then you go off, and then some others come in. So we did these rotations. We did a lot of testing. Also, the Tata Group as such has done these vaccination drives, and it's ongoing. And we've also ensured that apprentices or on-the-job trainees, their families also, if their families were willing to come in, we've done vaccination drives for them. So these are the initiatives that we've done over the last few months.
Great. Sriram and Niraj, anything you would like to add to that?
Yeah, sure. We at Band Bazaar are vaccinating all, including our apprentices at our own cost. We have also provided free medical consultation, video consultation in an association with MFINE for employees and their families. We also now provided free psychiatric, if required, for any stress-related action, psychiatric, psychologist consultation with the doctors for all the apprentices and the employees and extended to their family.
So
We
kind
also
of taking care of
created
the
a
mental
help desk
well-being
during
of the
pandemic
people.
to mental well-being. We also have help desk which helps them to coordinate for oxygen, hospital beds. Right, it's 24 help desk.
Fantastic.
So we try to see how much we can support. Now we treat all apprentices as our extended workforce. Whatever we do for employees, we do same for them. So they are treated as very much as part of it.
Fantastic. Niraj, anything? Okay, you are yet to get started with the apprenticeship, so not a valid question.
We do have a 6,000 workforce at a pan-India level. If I have to talk about 350 outlets. So how do we have work in this pandemic? So since the pandemic started, we have started our COVID coverage policy. So in which if anyone get infected, the company is going to take care of all the expenses of the employee and their family. Then we have the telehealth. We have the telehealth doctor consultation where anyone need any emergency, they could contact on that number. We have launched one toll-free number for all our employees. If anyone face any emergency, they could reach us immediately. We have covered all employees under, life insurance of 10 lakhs for all, for kitchen staff and for all corporate employees. Everyone have the, this life insurance. We have a medical insurance. We have the accidental insurance, and the entire COVID related diseases are covered under our regular insurance program. Along with that, we have, we used to do a daily calls to people who got infected due to COVID or employees or their family members. We have, given all kind of support to our people, even given, advances or all reimbursement we have given free for our people, all kind of treatment. Even we have arranged oximeter in all the places whenever it was not available. We have arranged oxygen cylinders, then oxygen concentrators. So we have a dedicated team who was completely focused on this activity. Currently, we have covered our maximum workforce through vaccination, and the vaccination drive is going on at a pan-India level. Very soon, entire staff, entire people of Rebel are going to be covered through vaccination.
Great.
So that's the activity we are doing to cover, to give a safe and sure experience to our people while working.
Great. Fantastic. I see Mr. Pranjal Dinkar has raised his hand. So if you have any query, you can put it in the chat box or in the question Q&A box. We will take the question and your concern through that particular platform, please. I think we'll take 2 more questions. Considering the paucity of time, we've already exceeded it. How to glorify apprenticeship and make it more popular? So, Niraj, would you want to take that, since you have been talking about the awareness aspect of it? Would you want to add to that? How can we glorify, make it? I would want to replace the word glorify to make it more desirable and aspirational. How can we do that?
Again, I would suggest that here we should, again, I would say, like, if people are aware, definitely they will do. See, if I know if I know about something, definitely I'll do some research about it. We'll go and we'll discuss about it. So first of all, I would say here that first we have to focus on the awareness. At least people should know it. What is apprenticeship? At least they will start, listening to these words. They will go and do some study about it, or if they are interested, they would do some research around it, right? So first, we have to majorly focus on the awareness. How to build awareness that here not only a government, or not only an education system, or not only an employer responsibility. I would say it's a responsibility of everyone who is making the company or making the country, strong in terms of economic, in terms of other aspects, if you want to go ahead. So I would suggest here is that, everyone should come together, should work on some activities. Again, the roles and responsibilities must be defined clearly. What would be of the responsibility of government, what would be of education system, what would be of employer, what would be of employee. We should bring some technology, we should build some automation towards it, we should build some process and system around it. And definitely once, as we have already initiated, we are in the phase, we have achieved few steps here. Far more we have to do, and we have to achieve further. So combining all these things, if we'll do and feel more focused on the, creating more and more awareness about this program, and keep changing, keep taking feedback, keep taking feedback from the people, from the institute or from the employers, and making changes if required. Then I believe the sustainability and the continuity of this program is like I believe no one is going to stop it, and we are going to get more benefit about it. So the more nowadays I can feel that many people are not aware about this program, which I said they will keep getting knowledge about it or information about it. This is going to help us.
Sure. Ajit and Mr. Sriram, anything that you would like to add to this?
I think it's a very relevant question, and it's something which even I feel, I would also use the word re-glorify. The reason being, and I can say that very confidently, because when I started my career, there were a lot of my supervisors, managers who had started as apprentice. So initially there was a lot of role modeling. And people would, sort of say, even though, there were certain hotels which were known to create some great apprentice. And so, they had a certain, there's a certain aspiration level to join those hotels as an apprentice and, grow up and become the executive chef of that hotel, or the housekeeper or the general manager. Over time, I think it has got diluted, and somewhere I think we need to internally market that. We need to really showcase those great products who have grown as apprentice, and maybe we should also provide focus on providing them some bit of fast tracking in their careers. The reason I'm saying this also is because I've seen that if via the apprentice program, there is a better level. Like I think Sumit, you also said that, yeah, that stickiness is there, and it's there for a longer duration.
Yeah.
So it's important, in this hurry to get trained manpower. Sometimes we do look at shortcuts, but this is definitely a sustainable journey. And if we can glorify and role model and showcase the great talent which comes out of these programs, I'm sure it'll have a great impact in the long run.
Great point. I think the referencing aspect of it, and how do you, talk about the word of mouth of the benefits that people have actually experienced. I think that would really generate more awareness and desire to be an apprentice. Mr. Sriram, quickly, if you could have from you.
No, I'm a very strong supporter, believer, and even an evangelist of this program. Right, I only see how to scale this. How do we take this? This is a pure win-win. Right, the apprentice wins by learning in a corporate, in a real-time scenario, and the institutions benefit in training someone, and also in seeing them in action and to decide what to do next. And the society benefits by skilling more and more population. So it's a beautiful win-win model. I'm a strong believer and evangelist. I think, as Niraj said, more and more awareness is what is missing. We should create across industry, in the institutions, even in the academia.
Great. I can see there are very many questions which are there. Some of them are very relevant. We will definitely answer all of them. I think there's one which came in that these days we will see a lot of efforts from the government to promote apprenticeship. Can NAPS be a disruptor in the field of HR supply chain? So if you could, just in one word, if you could say that, can the apprenticeship be the disruptor in the field of HR supply chain? Yes or no?
A big yes from me.
Fantastic. What about other two, Niraj and Ajit?
Big yes for me as well.
Fantastic. One last question. Do all apprentices give theoretical knowledge, and what are the methods utilizing? The apprenticeship where for the undergraduates, the theoretical knowledge, undergrad apprentices, the theoretical knowledge is a must, and the basic training being given to them. It has to be done even in classroom mode, or can be done virtually. Considering that in a lockdown situation, that's the best possible way to do it. Thank you so much for being with us today, all of you. I think some very valuable inputs coming in from each one of you, how you have been adopting apprenticeship, how it has helped you to create talent, to future-proof your business, something which would be very informative for all the participants, who've been here, and obviously from other employees as well, who would be interested in doing apprenticeship. Thank you so much. Really appreciate your contribution here.
Thank you, Sumit. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sriram, and thank you, Niraj, for all those interesting inputs too.
Thanks, Sriram. Thanks, Ajit. It was really a discussion. It was a really nice discussion. Thanks.
Great. Fantastic.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.